Hey everyone, welcome back to the XAVIER chapter. This video is going to be a quick update about XAVIER's first 2 months of life. I can't believe he's 8 weeks already. I feel like it's gone by so fast and he's just changing and growing so quickly. Just the other day I looked back at this old picture of him. It was his first time in his bouncer, which he loves. And I look at that picture and I cried because he just looks so small and he looks so big in it now. It's crazy. So XAVIER was born 7 pounds 14 ounces and he was 51 centimeters long. At 2 months, I'm not 100% sure how much he weighs, but his last weigh-in was March 31st for his 6-week checkup, and he was 10 pounds 7 ounces. He was 56 centimeters long. And apparently his head had grown the most. So we are breastfeeding and he's done amazing so far at that. From day one, we've really had no issues. I've been lucky enough to not have many issues with him latching. He figured it out pretty quickly and I haven't really had any pain, tenderness, bleeding, or cracking or anything like that. So that's been amazing. The most painful day was just like 3 or 4 days in when my milk came in. I was so engorged and it was so painful because they felt rock hard and I didn't know what to do, and that was the time when latching was really painful because everything was just so sensitive. But the next day it was pretty much back to normal and manageable again. And ever since then we haven't had any issues. He's really like not a picky baby in terms of nipples, whether it's mine or a variety of bottles he's been fine taking, or a variety of pacifiers he can figure out quite quickly. He has a couple favorites, but really he'll take anything, although he isn't too good at keeping the pacifiers in his mouth, so he needs to work on that. I've finally been able to start building up a bit of a stash of breast milk in my freezer because I just kind of use the haka on one side while he's feeding on the other, and once I figured out how to do that, oh my god, it's been amazing. I don't even pump anymore because pumping was an extra thing I'd have to do, whereas using the haka to just collect it was, I could just do it at the same time as breastfeeding, so it wasn't any additional time. From day one, he's been trying to hold his head up and he does really good with it when he's on our chest, but he absolutely hates tummy time. He'll have like maybe a happy moment, but then he gets sick of it really quick. And honestly, I think it's just because his head is so big. When he tries to lift his head when he's flat on the ground, it like makes his butt and his legs rise up instead. So he looks like he's breakdancing. And it's funny, like he'll use every muscle in his body to try and lift his head when he's on the floor, except for his arms. His arms he'll just have like useless next to him, and I'm like, buddy, you gotta use your arms to help you push you up at the front, because he's like super off kilter. But it's really funny and he'll figure it out. He was starting to show a preference for facing to his right side when he was sleeping, so I'm really trying to be turning his head either so he's looking straight up or to the other side when he's sleeping, and kind of rotating that so that he doesn't end up with like a flat spot. And in terms of sleeping, I don't know, like if you had asked me that a couple days ago, I would say we're going the direction of it getting better, but the past couple days have been a bit rough and he was only sleeping like 1 hour spurts at night, whereas 2 days ago he did his first 8-hour stretch at night. So I think he's still just kind of figuring out days and nights and how to connect his sleep cycles. Just trying to figure out what works for him in terms of daytime naps, whether he needs like a bunch of shorter naps or whether he needs a couple longer naps, and figuring out how to do that, because he'll only have longer naps when he's either in mine or Peter's arms and not in his crib or bassinet. Typically when he's in his crib or bassinet, he'll sleep anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes. Unless it's nighttime, then he does better. What else about him? He has just recently discovered that he has hands the other day, so every so often he'll notice his hand, usually his right hand, and then once he locks onto it, he like faces it toward himself and he'll start doing things with his fingers. And he's just looking at it so in awe, like, wow, is this mine? How do I use it? And it's so cute watching him just discover the world around him and discover himself. He was smiling fairly early, but not social smiles. He would smile in his sleep or while he was eating, and it was always super cute. But then as of the last couple weeks, he's been social smiling a lot, and he loves interacting with us, and he'll kind of respond to us with cooing if we are talking to him, or if we imitate his sounds, which has been the cutest thing. I love being able to engage with him more and more as he starts, figuring out the world around him and learning everything. I try to read to him every day, at least 1 book a day. We'll like lie on the floor and I'll hold it up and we'll read it together, and I noticed that when we're reading certain books, like he'll smile a lot more and always at the same parts of the book, which I find is really interesting. So that's been really cute. Right now his favorite book seems to be Love You Forever. He started off absolutely hating being naked and having his diaper changed because he hated being cold. Now he's like completely done a 180 and he loves naked time. We call it naked time. He loves getting his diaper changed and just having it all air out. And yeah, it's his favorite. He kicks his legs so much more and he gets so excited, and it's super cute. One thing he doesn't really do yet is show any signs of rolling, which is fine because I know that will come. The closest he gets is honestly in his sleep when he's in the crib. When he's connecting those sleep cycles, he'll sometimes like kick his legs up and kind of flop back and forth a little bit. But during the day, if you put him on the playmat on his back, he'll just lay there and look at stuff. He won't really try to move around or anything. But he is trying to maneuver his hands to try and reach for things, it seems like. He has a ton of different nicknames, ranging from Mr. Crust because he had some issues with some blocked tear ducts, or his hair would get crusty when he would sometimes spit up and it would just like make the back of his hair all gross and we'd have to give him a bath. So I would call him Mr. Crust when he woke up goopy. Boob Monster because he went through a phase where want the boob so bad that he would do kind of this thing. And I found it so funny. He would like breathe so fast and then just go crazy. And when he's in that state, like he can't latch, so I almost have to kind of take him away and give him a break, which he gets mad at, but then when I put him back, he's able to latch again. He doesn't do that so much anymore. And then I called him variations of Monkey, Munchkin, Bubby, Bubba. Zave and Xavier are my go-tos for his name. I honestly never really call him Xavier. It's always Zave or Xavier. And there's this song that I sing to him where I changed one of the words to Xavier. Hey, Mr. DJ, put a record on. I wanna dance with my Xavier. So I'll sing that to him when we're like dancing around and stuff. I do want to talk about postpartum depression and anxiety, but I might do that in another video. I was lucky to not struggle with postpartum depression and anxiety. It was something I was concerned about because I have struggled with anxiety and depression in general in the past, so I wasn't sure if I would be more prone to it. And I almost considered doing placenta encapsulation because I heard it helps with that, but because of the pandemic and just the complications of having to have someone come in and pick up the placenta, and I wasn't sure if I was going to be in the hospital or birthing center and all that, I just decided to forego it. But the first couple weeks was definitely hard, and it was mostly because of sleep deprivation and because of my own personal recovery and healing. I'll go more in depth into that as well, but long story short, there were nights where I cried and I felt very sad, and I almost felt disconnected from him mostly because I was just so tired because I was paranoid to sleep. I was so scared. I was so scared of SIDS. I'm still really nervous about SIDS, but like less so than I was. Because in the beginning he was having a lot of this like mucusy spit up, and it was so mucusy that he was having a hard time getting it out. So it wasn't like normal spit up where it would come out easily and he'd just like or swallow it back down. It was like getting stuck. So the sounds he would make these like dry gagging motions, but that passed after a few days. But it was mostly because I was in so much pain while I was recovering because of my stitches, and like my back was really hurting, and every time I stood up, I think just like certain muscles had just kind of atrophied over time because I was overcompensating with other muscles when I was pregnant. So there was just a lot of pain happening, and once one thing went away, then a new type of pain started, and I was just getting really overwhelmed with that. You're probably thinking you went through unmedicated childbirth and you found the recovery to be worse. And yes, like the recovery has been way, way, way worse than the unmedicated birth. I just felt so sad that I was not able to do everything that I wanted to do with him and be able to take care of him properly, because it was so hard for me to even like have to sit up in bed multiple times a night to like try and rock him back to sleep in the bassinet or to take him out and feed him. Like everything just felt impossible. And it made me feel guilty because I felt like I wasn't doing everything I needed to do to be a good mom. Yeah, it was tough. Peter was a wonderful help. But like also things like, I wanted to start, reading books to him sooner, but I wasn't able to really get into a position to do so with him. Or I really wanted to do his newborn shoot earlier. I made myself take some at 2 weeks even though I was still in pain. And that was hard. But like the longer you leave it, the harder it is to get certain shots because then they're awake more. So I really wanted to do it earlier and I couldn't. As a result, I couldn't get all the shots that I wanted to get, but I still love the ones that I got. So there was just a lot. There was a lot there that I was dealing with, but it had nothing to do with my love for him. Like I always loved him. I loved him from the moment I saw him. Well, I loved him when he was in my tummy, if I'm being honest. I felt like my brain was kind of disconnecting a little bit to try and alleviate those feelings of guilt almost. I don't know. I mean, it wasn't working, but luckily it didn't last very long. And the more that I started feeling more like myself and the more I started healing and feeling back to normal, the easier it was for me to do things with him, and then the less sad and stuff I was. But I might go into that more in another video. He kept his hair, which I'm really happy about. I know that a lot of babies lose a lot of their initial hair and then it grows back after, but he was born with a head full of hair and it's just getting longer and longer. It's finally at the point where, like, if you wet it and let it dry flat, then it will kind of stay that way. But I love the photos that I have of him in the beginning when it would just fluff straight up. He definitely has his dad's hair texture in that way. But I think he has my hair color, and everyone says that he looks like me, which we'll see as he grows and changes if that continues, or if we'll be able to see a little bit more of Daddy here and there as he grows. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention, we are using cloth diapers, which has been a great experience so far. We waited until he was a few weeks old, again, because I really wanted to be part of that cloth diapering process, and I also had to show Peter how to do it because I had, like, done all the research and stuff. But I really wanted to be part of that, and again, like, I couldn't really, I was freaking useless. So up to that point, Peter had been doing all the diaper changes. So we were using disposables up to that point, and we are still using disposables, but just at night, because I'm not quite ready to transition to nighttime diapers, since we're just trying to figure out, you know, how to give him the best sleep and stuff right now. And yeah, it's been really fun. I'm obsessed with all the cute patterns and stuff that you can get, and it can become addicting very quickly, but I'm looking forward to continuing it. And I was a little bit overwhelmed initially by the laundry aspect of it, because I'm notoriously bad at keeping up with laundry, but I found that I'm actually more productive when it comes to household chores having a baby, because I know that I only have a very short amount of time while he's sleeping to get things done. So as soon as he's sleeping, I'm like, you know, doing the things I need to do. So it's been a lot easier for me to keep up with laundry, and it's really not as complicated as I thought. At the very least, we haven't had any issues yet, so I think my wash routine is working pretty well for us so far. Right now he's in newborn size cloth diapers, and I think he's going to be in them for a while longer, but I can't wait to use all of our one size diapers because we have so many cute patterns. I'll also do a video more in depth about cloth diapering after we've been doing it for a while, to share my thoughts and, you know, what brands I like and stuff like that. And so far, the only time that we've had blowouts is in the disposables. I feel like that says a lot. And it also tells me that I'm using the cloth diapers correctly, which is always important to try and get a good fit. He has grown out of all of his newborn clothes, so I've had to pack those away, which is really sad, and he's in 0 to 3 now, which is so sad because I feel like there was stuff that he didn't even get to wear. Yeah, so that's Xavier. That's pretty much all I can think of for his 2-month update. I would have had him with me in this video, but he fell asleep downstairs with Peter, so I didn't want to disturb him. But hopefully in next videos or in future videos, he can join me. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you come back for more of the Xavier chapter. Bye! Choo!